Oh, yeah, it's on, yeah. Sure.
I've always said that I've been in some big weekends, big weeks, big 2-game stretches. You know, Duke and Kentucky and was one, and Syracuse and Iowa State was one. But to do this on the road, not at a neutral site, and play as poorly as we did the first half, and give Penn State credit. I mean, those guys made every shot they took. Now, we didn't guard anybody, but they made every shot they took. And we just talked at halftime, transition defense got to be better. We talked about them being streaky. We talked about letting them get going early. I thought Cassius was a lot better defensively in the second half. Aaron Henry was pretty good defensively. We moved Xavier Tillman all over. We had him on a big, we had him on a guard, we had him on Stevens, of course, and probably the guy that I didn't feel did some things as well, Malik Hall, but he really did guard Stevens well, and I thought Stevens missed some shots he normally hits. Tough night for them after making all those threes, but the star of the game has to be Rocket Watson, the defense he played. It was unbelievable. He made some shots too, but the defense he played, he's tough. And I said the difference with this team than it was 3-4 weeks ago is we're a tougher team. And we showed it against a very good team. Pat's done an unbelievable job. I told my team I thought the difference was before the game, I just said, you know, we've been in these situations. We've played for championships. We've got some experienced guys. Maryland didn't really have that, and they're building that here. And the job he's done building it with all those young guys he's got. I mean, Stevens is Stevens. He's one of the great players in this league, and I think coming back he'll end up a good draft pick and everything. But we've been there, and I think the experience helped us.
Tom, I know you don't do a lot of scoreboard watching, but you had to go in the locker room afterwards to find out about the Maryland Rutgers result.
Yeah, that's
What's
what
that
I
like for
found
your
out.
team?
I did not hear anything, did not know anything. We made a rule on our bench that, you know, we didn't want to know, and so we had to tell guys like Dave Pruder and a couple of those guys that usually are squawking about things like that. Last time they did it, I think we had Derek Nix, and he found out with 4 minutes left that somebody lost that needed to win, and we almost lost our game because he was so upset. So we had a rule today, and I found out walking in the locker room. And, you know, I said to you guys a couple weeks ago to my media, our media, that, you know, if you take care of your own business, there's, you know, then you deserve to have something happen. And we, until we beat Iowa, Maryland, and Penn State, we didn't deserve it. We dug ourselves a hole. And yet, those of you from Penn State, he's done an unbelievable job here to be able. I told him before the game, he's got a very good team. Unfortunately, the league is the best it's been since he's been in this league. Otherwise, there's a lot of years he would have ran through the league himself.
You lead the league in assists to made basket ratio because your offense always moves. Were you satisfied with the movement of your offense in the first half, and you must have been satisfied with the second half?
I was going to say the first half, I didn't like my offense. I didn't like my defense. I didn't like my three-point percentage defense. I didn't like my assistants, players. I didn't like myself. The second half, I felt, you know, we were moving the ball. We did talk about a couple things offensively. I thought we were dribbling it a little bit too much. We started moving that ball. And you're right, that made a difference. We started getting it in Xavier's hand, Cash and Xavier, which they're as good a 1-2 punch as far as screening rolls, I think, in the country. And Xavier made some man plays late, and Cash his 3-point on that layup. For some reason, you know, we did get off to a slow start, but I think you're right. We have led we've been leading the country a few times. Our assists have been down this year compared to most years, but still 1 or 2 in the conference.
Tom, I can't remember if a couple weeks ago if it was miracle, the word you used, or whatever, in terms of winning the Big Ten regular season. It felt like kind of, okay, that seems out of our reach. Do you think it's just that toughness that's just kind of appeared that's turned this around?
I think experience. You know, I think we've won 2 championships. We won a Big Ten tournament championship. We've been to a Final Four with 3 of these guys now, with Arns making those 2 free throws and Xavier and Cassius. I think that helps. When you've been there before, it helps. I think you guys would agree we're getting to be a little bit more physical team instead of the one we've kind of had out there most of the year that wasn't very physical. It just wasn't. And to the credit of the players, they found a way to reach down a little bit, and I think we've been practicing better. I told you there was a long stretch we didn't practice very good for a lot of reasons, and so, you know, maybe this helps Cassius get his couple hours where he can really focus in on that. But Xavier's been a big difference. Rocket has played really well, and probably Aaron Henry, I don't know what his stats were, but we went to him a couple times. It was critical defensively. He rebounded pretty well the first half. I don't know what he ended up with.
Early in the game, you're down 19. You guys have been in that position before. How much has that helped you guys tonight? And does this team win a game like this maybe a month or so ago?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I did not feel good about it, but I did not feel bad. I mean, I made every shot you could take, you know, and when you make those kind of shots, I mean, some of them were poor defense, some of them were great shots, and but I thought, you know, Stevens will never have a game like that again, in my opinion. I think he's one of the premier players in this league. He's an easy guy to pull for because he could have left and did this and that, and I think he improved his value tremendously, and he helped his team and his program, but I think he improved himself. He's way better putting the ball on the floor. He's way better. He just missed some shots. He missed some good shots. I think a little bit was our defense, but a little bit was just that he had a bad night, you know. Now, most of the other guys had good nights, and I think it helped to put Rocket on Jones, try to keep him on him a little bit more. Rock's, he goes right there with the Travis Walton and the team Cleaves. You know, he's one of those guys that he's not afraid to defend. He wants to defend. He wants to get up there. Keith Appling has been a guy that, you know, I look at film with Keith and I look at him, and he really gets after it. So those are 3 of the best defensive guards we've had, and Gary Harris right up there, and Rocket Watts for a freshman is doing some of those things.
Just to follow up on Xavier, how much, when you're going through film and stuff, how often do you find yourself just kind of pointing to Xavier and saying, everyone just do this, what this guy does?
You know, Xavier and I met late last night in my room, and we went over some film, and told him I want him to be like a linebacker. I want him to be able to call out all the coverages, or a free safety, and call out everything. And I told the guys in the walkthrough then today that you just got to do what Xavier did. So you must have been in my walkthrough hiding in the bleachers. But it's exactly, if you ask him, that's exactly what happened last night and today. And he got a little tired because we played him so much and we had to put him on different people. But boy, he got that big rebound late, that put back, he got that tip dunk or whatever, made some great plays. And I just, you know what, I can't say enough about my team. I love Pat's team. I love what he's done here. He's a great coach and a great guy. But I tell you what, man, for what we've been through, it's just hard to explain to you what it means to have a chance to play for a Big Ten championship after the way the last 5 months have gone, and what a tribute that is to Xavier, Cassius, you know, Arnie, all those guys, and then, you know, Rocket being hurt and all the things that went on. You know, we got a lot of work to do yet. Big game on Sunday. I've been in those before. Talked to Draymond Green today, and, you know, I think his senior year we had a big lead against Ohio State and lost it to win a championship. And so we're going to worry about that. But I told those guys 2 weeks ago after the Maryland game, I said, we're going to get through Iowa. If we get through Iowa, we're not losing the next 2. And I told them today, I thought I did my job to get you here. If we win this game, then Cassius, Arnie, Connor, and Xavier, you guys can coach the last one. And I think that's another thing that's starting to happen is it's getting to be a little more of a player-coach team. Guys are able to take a little bit. We were so sensitive for so long, and for a million different reasons.
Tom, from a big picture perspective, can you talk about what it's like from a guy who's been in the Big Ten for a long time to make this East Coast swing to kind of get yourself into position to do what you're trying to do here? Because, I mean, 20 years ago, this never would have happened.
Yeah. Well, I think Penn State has been an incredible addition to the Big Ten, you know, with their football, with their other sports. I walked the campus today. I love it here. You know, it reminds me of East Lansing in a lot of ways. And I'm not sure you ever like, you know, when a new team comes in, it's just different. But this has been a team. I remember when Joe Paterno and George Perlis kind of helped put a lot of this stuff together. And we're very much involved in Michigan State playing Penn State at the end of the year. You know, there was a lot of great things that happened with Michigan State and Penn State. You add Maryland into the group, and another phenomenal campus, phenomenal academics. You know, the funny part about this whole thing is our commissioner who recently retired, you know, we all thought he was nuts on some of these things, certifiably in fact. But you got to give him a lot of credit too, because he just found a way to have an avenue to the East Coast and bring in more TV and bring in more people and bring in more players. So Jim Delaney, on this night, I think he'd be proud of this team, the way we battled. But you got to give him credit for, because I thought he was insane myself, so I don't mind saying it. But on a lot of things, but brilliant in a lot of ways, because all those things have made the Big Ten better. It's made it the greatest conference for attendance, and one of the great academic conferences in the country. And I'm just proud that on Sunday we get a chance to play for another Big Ten championship.
Tom, a couple things. One, if you had a team that sort of the characteristic of not making the big plays late for a lot of points in the season, to make them this late, have it flip this late in the year, you know what I mean, where that changes the sort of the character thing. And then also, I couldn't really see what was happening, but there seemed to be you and Cassius were in a bit of a discussion at one point.
Yeah,
What was happening there?
let me tell you something about that. I think it's so ridiculous that the media, that ESPN zooms in, and, you know, I let them in my huddles. And somebody said after, you know, I was mad at Cassius, and he was mad at me. And I was mad at Draymond, and I was mad at Mateen, and I was mad at a lot of people. You know, being mad is sometimes what it takes to get people to play to a different level. I've coached a different way 90% of this season for a lot of reasons that when you ask, why are you making plays, it would take 6 seconds to think about it and think who made most of those plays this year and how hard it's been on them now. It's night and day. I mean, it's not even close. So, you know what? I'm going to push Cassius. His family wants me to push him. He wants me to push him. You know, it's just the way it is. And so the truth of it is, that wasn't even a good huddle. I just walked away on that one. That wasn't any fun. You know, I've had a lot more fun other times.
The first part of that, just a team that this late in the year is found.
Yeah, well, they did because our quarterback is able to absorb some of that. Our quarterback is able to get pushed. Our quarterback is making some plays that you wouldn't even see. Those ones to Xavier were phenomenal. Those ones, those bounce passes, the things. But he probably doesn't like this, but his defense was 10 times better the second half. But Cassius Winston is definitely one of the best players, college basketball players in the country. There's not one human being in this room, including me, that could have done what he's done and what he's gone through. And we forget that. We all do. I do sometimes. And that's why I think I did an average job coaching him half the year. I think thanks to his family, thanks to him, thanks to myself, I got a job to do. And it's been very difficult for him, guys. Very difficult. But he's showed his true colors, man. That's why I love him. So I think I'll go hug and kiss him, see if someone puts that on camera and we'll call it a day.
Is he happy to see